Hey everybody, welcome back to DeHaven Family Farm. We're on this Gator project again here behind me, and today we're going to work on the maintenance on the Gator. But before we start that, I just want to go over a couple of things that I've done to the Gator and a couple of surprises that I've come across. So first we'll start with the back of the Gator. You can see I got this all painted up. It is not perfect. This is not a restoration job. This is just sort of fixing things up. So basically, if you remember, there was a bunch of rust in there, and I took a wire brush on my grinder. I cleaned up all the loose rust. I primed it with a rusty metal primer. I think I have a picture of that I'll throw in here. And then I painted it with John Deere green paint, factory paint. It is a little bit brighter than the rest of the green on the Gator, I think, because that faded. So I did get all the paint cleaned off the bed liner. You can see there's still some dirt on it, but all the paint has been cleaned off the bed liner. I still have to do the machine, but I started with the bed liner. And then the floor, I got the floor painted here. This did not really have any rust on it. It just had some weird spots from people's feet. So again, same thing. Again, not a restoration. So I just used that same wire wheel. And on this surface, I used a self-etching primer. I think I have a picture of that too. I'll throw that in. And then again, painted with the John Deere green paint. So 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of paint on there, and I'll double check. I don't know if there'll be any spots I'll have to touch up. So those items are done. And if you remember, hang on a second here, from the last video, I believe this fender was still on at that point. Well, I ended up having to take it off because, as you can see over here, this is a lesson learned. I knew that one of the fenders was all busted up when I bought it. I figured no big deal. I'd already been online. I could get new fenders, possibly a used one. And again, I mentioned the used one I found was actually the wrong side. So I ended up getting a new fender. Well, the problem is that this had faded out so much that it doesn't match the same color green anymore. Even if I were to polish that up, it still is not the same color green. So I did not want to have an oddball looking fender on here and the rest of the hood and the other fender be different color greens. So I bit the bullet and I bought 3 new plastic pieces. We have the right fender, there's the left fender, and there is the hood. And I think you can almost right there see the difference in the colors. I'll show you after a little bit closer, but there's just no way that even if I shined this up, which I could do, the green, it faded funny, and this is like a darker green now, and that is like a brighter green. So even shining that, they were not gonna match. So I was not gonna be happy about that, so I ended up having to spend the money, and they'll be all new plastic across the front of the machine. So that was a lesson learned. But the good news is now the other fender and the hood had very minor cracks, easy to repair. So the next Gator that I work on, if it has a left busted fender or a busted hood, I already have used ones that should be faded the same as another machine. So I'm not throwing those out by any means. I should be able to save some money on another Gator project. So that's the saving grace there. Another thing that I had worked on, the lights did not work last time I did a video. So I did get some of the lights working. I think I've turned the key on, and where's the switch? So the headlights are now working. The 4-ways and turn signals are not working. I had to order a couple of things. There's a relay here, a little flasher. I ordered that and something else, I can't remember now. Those didn't come in yet. So I'm hoping that will fix the 4-way flasher and turn signal issue. So that's not repaired yet, but the lights are working. So I think that pretty much brings you up to speed on what I've done. I am going to throw these 2 fenders back on. I'm not going to film that because you saw me take them off in the last video, and obviously it's just the reverse order. And then I'm going to throw the bed liner back in. Same thing, I'm not going to bother to film that. And then we're going to get started on all the maintenance on this Gator. So I will be back in a second. Okay, just to give you a quick idea here how funny this would look. I mean, you can see, even if this was polished up better, the color green difference is just tremendous. To mention, on the accelerator pedal down here, we got a brand new spring that was missing, and the accelerator pedal wouldn't pop all the way back up. Super easy fix there. Okay, so we're gonna work on draining the oil. The oil plug is down there. You can't really see it. I'll show you here from the bottom as best I can, which is not going to be easy, but there is a hole right there. And there, hopefully you can see, because I can't see under there, there is the drain plug. So I'm going to take that out and we'll get this oil draining. All right, so I got that loosened up. That was a 14 mil, kind of a funny size. So let's see if I can do this without making a huge mess and dropping the drain plug. Okay, so while that drains, we're going to take care of this air filter right here. All right, I'm opening the new one, which you can't see. We got a new one here. So let's go ahead and pop these. There's a clip on the top and yep, one on the bottom. And we'll just pop this cover off. Definitely some dust in there. Here is the old filter, pretty dusty. And we'll just take a rag here and wipe this out here. Try and keep it as clean as we can. New filter, slip it on in there. Nice snug fit. Remember to put this little doohickey, little air cleaner there, put that facing down. And then we'll just work on putting these little silly snaps back on there. And that is done. Okay, so next we're gonna do a spark plug. Pop that off. Make sure we're going in reverse here. It'd be nice if I had a spark plug socket that fit this, but I don't. And for those of you who don't know what a spark plug socket is, it basically has a little rubber piece down in there that locks on the plug and helps you lift it out. All right, so we got our new plug here. Now I'm not going to worry about gapping the plug. It was ordered from Deere via the serial number of the machine. So I'd like to think that it is the correct gap. And I did not check it off the old one because there's no guarantee that the old one that was in there, it may not have been original. And if it wasn't, then you don't know that somebody did or didn't get the correct plug with the correct gap anyhow. So we'll snug that down. Now this is just a single cylinder engine, so one plug and we're done. All right, the next thing we're gonna do while we're letting the oil drain out is we're gonna change this little fuel filter, gas filter right here. So let me get some stuff and we'll get started with that. Okay, finally found a set of pliers here. Get these little clamps off. I'm sure we'll spill gas all over, that's all right. There's cardboard on the floor. All right, there we got one end off. Let's see if we can get the other end off of here. Okay, mission accomplished. Make sure you put these in the right way. They are directional. All right, there she is. Okay, we got the drain plug cleaned up and I've got it put back in. Okay, so I added a quart and 28 ounces on top of that from the second quart. And it is almost 3/4 in the hashtags there. I'm gonna let it sit there for now and we'll come back and check it later just to make sure it all got drained down in there. I don't want to overfill it. So I think one of the last maintenance things we need to do is, this is the transmission here, Transaxle. We're gonna drain that and put new oil in that. Okay, so the drain plug for the Transaxle is under here. You can see there's kind of like two little lumpy guys. It's underneath up in there. Kind of difficult to get to, so I had to jack up the back of the Gator to get a wrench in there. There's no room for a socket, but I think I got her loose, and we'll see if we can get her draining out here. Okay, let's see if we can get ready to make a mess here. There we go. Now, one thing we should have done, or I should have done, is, you see how it's coming out. I should have cracked the fill spot on the top to let air in there. So I think I will go do that now. All right, I got the Transaxle drain plug put back in, cleaned up, tightened up, put back in. We got our, this is what they gave me, the high guard stuff to put in here. Hopefully we've got enough, because a lot came out. So much so that it just about overflowed my container. It's right to the brim. So I'll go ahead and get this topped off here, and then we'll check it. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for now. It actually, I went and looked it up online. It takes more than a gallon. So lucky I happen to have some high guard in a container from something else, and because they only gave me a gallon when I picked the stuff up from Deere. So we're gonna let that sit. While that sits, before we check it, we're gonna do some greasing. There's not a lot of grease fittings on here. You can see that, sorry, the light there, that axle right there. There's a grease fitting on that axle. There's one on the axle down there. And up front here, there is a grease fitting, sorry, right in there. And of course there's one on the other side over here in there, and that's about it if I remember correctly. I'll double check, and if I find some other ones I'll let you know. All right everybody, that is going to finish this video out here today. I finished greasing those grease points. As of now I didn't find any other ones. I checked the Transaxle oil, that's looking good. Engine oil is looking good. So just a quick note, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, a lot of these smaller machines like this, the single cylinders, do not actually have engine oil filters. So if you didn't see me change that and you wondered why, it's because this model does not have an engine oil filter on it. Just a quick note there. So I guess that's about it for today's video here, guys. There she be. I got some cleanup work to do. So the next and final video in the series is just basically going to be buttoning everything up. Say that fast 5 times. I still have a wiring issue with the flashers and turn signal lights not working, so we got to figure that out. There's a bunch of cleaning on the machine to do, getting the rest of the paint and things off. The new seats have to go on, decals, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing something else that I'll think of later. But that'll be the third part of the video, the last part in this little. So we'll catch everybody on the next video. Thanks for watching.